All right, thank you, Brian. Thank you all for coming. Even those of you that are just here to watch us be enveloped by the sands of time, one PowerPoint slide after another. 20 slides in 15 seconds is a little daunting. Or is it 15 slides in 20 seconds? It doesn't matter. Multiplication is commutative, so one way, whatever. Anyway, I hope to use my small slice of time to talk about bias in algorithms. This week, actually, there were allegations that Apple Pay is giving women lower credit rates or limits than men, even if their credit histories are better. Customer service representatives are responding, well, that's just what the computer is telling me. And the problem with that's just what the computer is telling me is giving cover for systemic bias. And these injustices are hiding behind this false sense of objectivity. Importantly, these objective algorithms don't affect everyone in the same way. I have a good credit score. I've never been a victim of stop and frisk. My car insurance is relatively low, which might have something to do with the car that I drive, but nonetheless, I have privilege. Marginalized communities are victims of algorithms in far-reaching ways made worse by a false sense of objectivity. The Latinx family who is unable to secure a home loan, the Muslim man who is randomly searched at the airport, or even the black man who can't get the soap dispenser in the bathroom to work without getting a white paper towel. I'm not arguing that we should abandon algorithms because they are biased. To me, that would be equivalent to arguing that all statistics or all science should be ignored because science and statistics have the potential to be manipulated. Instead, we should be healthy skeptics, noticing places where systems reinforce existing power structures, pushing for transparency, recognizing that every computer model is built by fallible human beings that too often aren't representative of the populations their models affect. So, now that I have you emotionally invested with my dazzling rhetoric, I'm sure you're ready to stand up and fight. Fight with me against greedy and evil multinational companies. Down with Google, rah! Down with Twitter, rah! Down with Desmos. What? But it's a trap, because I'm going to bring this home. Let's talk about our math classrooms, and I'll give you 7 seconds to shift uncomfortably while I take my first breath. Like these algorithms, school math has a reputation for being objective, right or wrong. 12 plus 17 or 7 is always 19, 3 plus 4 is always 7. Traditionally, math classrooms have cared less about reasoning, something that Calvin is actually doing in this slide. But we've all seen the light. We now know that math is much more than right answers. Math is creative, math is about the process, math is a lens to see the world. But that being said, most of us, myself included, are still perpetrators of bad algorithms because we give grades. I think about how things would be different if we had 12 fingers instead of 10. Would a 12-point scale be the standard thing? Would an 89 be an A-? Would the 6-fingered man from The Princess Bride be a better person because he got an A-? Today's test is 70% of your final grade, which makes up 35% of your grade for the semester, and 20% of your grade for 50% of the scholastic career, for 15% of the career. If you can explain this to the person next to you, you pass the test. Why aren't our tests just 3.14159265358% of our grades? Why did you give me a 4 out of 5 on that question? Oh, why was that question out of 5? Why did you ask that question instead of the hundreds of other questions that you could have asked? We are teaching a subject that aims to build habits of precision and skepticism, yet imprecision is abundant in a metric that college admissions officers call the most important aspect of an applicant's profile. It makes me wonder if the reason we don't teach more statistics is because we're afraid of being outed as fraudsters. Our grading is arbitrary, but it's also biased. In a study conducted in Israel, researchers basically gave teachers inside the room and outside the room the same test to grade. Teachers inside the room, regardless of gender, graded women or graded girls harder than teachers outside the room. This was a survey given by a sociology professor in college that was asking about, should you go ask for that teacher for a little bump in your final grade? And you might not be surprised, about 2/3 of people said that was appropriate to ask, but she noticed that actually, if you look at first-generation students, it was only 50-50. An association between race and GPA still exists, and we can't just push it away using racial tropes and deficit thinking about home lives. And if students are coming with home lives, why are we grading that? So I recognize that I spent most of my time talking about the problems and very little time talking about solutions. And for that, you need to come to my talk that happened this morning at 10:30. And to finish off, I'd just like to for you to quickly go to your grading portal and give me my grade, because I really need an A in this class, so I hope you enjoy the talk. Thank you.
All right, Avery.